Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in to another Starcraft 2 broadcast. My name is Anaris, and today we're here watching a 1 versus 1 on one of the newer maps, Backwater Gulch, between ChiTaPrime, spawning as the Protoss in the top right position, and his Terran opponent, MGRanks, down here in the bottom left. So, like I said, this is on one of the newer maps, and we'll just spend a minute going over some of the key features of it. See, a pretty decent-sized main base here. Not the biggest we've seen in some of the maps, but certainly not the smallest. Down the ramp, we do have an expansion just to the south. You'll notice one thing about this: there are 3 entrances. Well, two, because you've got this one area right here blocked off by rocks, big open area, 2 little smaller choke points, and then you've got the expansion, but also a set of destructible rocks here leading out to another. There's really not a lot of wide open areas here. I guess relative to the rest of the map, this is probably a wide open area. But anyways, one of the things about this expansion, you'll notice there's not a lot of room for tech structures and whatnot. So anything that you want to put down, you're gonna have to put in this narrow little area right here and just kind of guard it, because things in this expansion can be attacked from down below. You got the rocks here, but also do note that it's very close to the mineral line. So some of those longer range units can get in there and cause some havoc without worrying too much about retaliation. Now, in the middle of the map, there are 2 xel'naga watchtowers, also 2 high-yield expansions that are pretty much back-to-back with each other. Look at that, a lot of important features on the map in a relatively small area. As far as the wider portions of the map, you see that here's one of the big wide open areas, and kind of leading around the middle, there's a pretty wide spot, so you can kind of focus on getting your concaves in that area. But like I said, there's a lot of more narrow points in this map. You see, this actually is one of the key features. There's 4 of them, little ramps that lead up to a cliff there, and again, it's providing some high ground covering these expansions right here. You can come up here and assault it from above. Likewise, you can also position units over here. Hey, what's up, Lyot, I guess, depending on where you're from in North America, you'd say they're Iot or Iote. But anyways, looking at the build, now that these guys have started to throw down some structures here, we're seeing some pretty standard openers. So right now we've got the Protoss player going over for the Cybernetics core. Not too descriptive on exactly what he's doing just yet. We do see he is running off of 1 geyser. SCV is continuing to scout around. Meanwhile, down here, actually, this probe that dropped this expansion was killed. I saw that blue blip disappear in the minimap a minute ago, but not before he dropped an assimilator. Now this is going to kind of throw off the Terran just a little bit. If he was thinking about going a more tech-oriented route, forcing him to go and continue to produce the Marines, maybe shift into that. He does have 1 Marine already in the field here, now 3 of them. One of them apparently is hidden beneath the satellite dish there, and they're going to take that out pretty quickly, so I don't think that's actually going to have too big of an impact. But what will, though, is this expansion going down pretty early. You see the Terran player is deciding to wall off, as we do have a probe scout actually maybe heading down there. No, he is not. We'll keep an eye on him as the game progresses here, but notice that this bunker has gone down, and there is a 2 depots as well. So the Terran definitely looking to assume a more defensive position, at least for the time being. Meanwhile, ChiTaPrime throwing down those proxy pylons. This is kind of one of his signature things here. He is all about having all kinds of proxy pylons all over the map. You've seen the other videos from him where he does the proxy hallucination trick. You know, of course, there's the mofo cannon drop, or whatever the heck that was called. And yeah, if you haven't seen those video yet, I'll actually have a link to the other ones at the end of the video, so you can check that out on your own free time here. Meanwhile, we see that warp gate technology has been finished. Those 2 stalkers are now completed, heading down towards the bottom portion of the map now, apparently, while the Protoss player decides to drop his expansion. Of course, a very good time to be doing that. And meanwhile, the Terran player throwing down 2 additional barracks, also working on that concussive shells upgrade, to be going infantry heavy right now, dropping down a reactor as well. Marines, very good thing to have this early in the game, especially when you're going with this expansion technique. And speaking of techniques, we do have a pylon being dropped right here, just outside of the Terran base. Notice that it does provide power up here on the cliff, and that might exactly be what the Protoss player decides to do. Maybe try to focus some of this fire on this this depot and warp in some units. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not too sure. This pylon is going down pretty quickly, though. He's not really taking advantage of it a whole lot. This depot is being repaired very quickly. I don't think we're going to see that going down, actually, right now. The Protoss player just does not have enough firepower. What has happened, though, is he has lost that sentry already and a couple other forces. We did have 1 unit warp in there, but it was dispatched very quickly by the SCVs, which will come off the mineral line. So all in all, the Terran player not actually too affected by that. We look at the units lost right now. We see 7-2. Mostly the Protoss here suffered some pretty heavy losses. We see 750 resources lost from that attack throughout the game so far. But one good thing that has come from all this, the Protoss has been able to establish his expansion before the Terran player has been able to get his down there and start mining off of that. Now the Terran has thrown down an orbital command, to making up for some of that time that he has not been able to do anything with that. But notice that ChiTaPrime does have this one pylon just outside of the natural right here. Now the command center should be able to see that, and likewise for the pylon as well. So we might have a little bit of harassment as this is indeed going to be coming down here. Protoss still just kind of assuming a nice little position here, keeping the Terran contained at the bottom of the ramp. Good force field placement on that, but notice there's not enough energy for another one. So should the Protoss decide to run down there and engage that command center, the Terran should be able to get out and deal with it relatively quickly without worrying about another force field being placed. We see a couple SCVs going to be coming down here, transferring over, and also hoping to absorb some of that damage from the Stalkers. You see Terran actually making his way down here with his forces. Pretty Marine heavy. Again, Marines and Marauders, very good combination if you're dealing with what the Protoss has right now. You see he just got a few Stalkers, and there's one force field landing randomly right there. Not actually that randomly. What he's hoping to do is block off the Terran and create a little bit of a gap there for him to try to ensure his escape, which it looks like just barely out of reach of those Terran players, but look at that. He is actually pursuing, looking to take down those Stalkers. 3 of them. Oh, man, he might actually lose 3 of those right there because of that Concussor Shells upgrade. No, it looks like he actually was able to get them to safety. Terran continuing on. As we see one Stalker down here it looks like he's got 1 kill already. There comes number 2. Protoss really doesn't have a whole ton up here. You see he's got a couple units warping in. On the army comparison right now, 61-62, but we see 28-44 for the Harvesters. So ChiTaPrime, most of his supply currently is made up from those army units, and we see plenty of probe kills right here. Look at that, MGRanks just wrecking those probes. Plenty of them are able to escape, however, as Cheetah is just going to let this expansion go, apparently. You know, there's not a lot he can do. He does not have any army units whatsoever, except for what we're looking at on the screen. Maybe a couple down here wandering around trying to get some kills on this orbital command, which you see is continuing to produce SCVs. A couple Stalkers coming down there as well. Going to try to engage, but not going to be able to do a whole lot of good. 2 Stalkers against all these forces. Well, I don't know, maybe he might actually be able to pull that off here, as Terran is finally going to pull back his forces, and this Marine, oh man, so very close. Look at that, 3 hit points. That Stalker survived 3 hit points, and dead. Alright, well, I think we kind of saw that coming there, but MGRanks made very good use of that, of this nice little bio ball here. You know, there's no real reason just to keep those forces down here guarding the expansion, because, I mean, all you're letting the Protoss player do is just expand on his own. I mean, I'm sure at this point MGRanks was thinking to himself that the Protoss player has expanded during that attack. There was plenty of time for him to do so. So he figured the next best thing is to go in there and shut down the Protoss economy, and that's exactly what he did. And he hasn't really faced any further attacks other than that little bit of harassment on the mineral line there. But at best, the Terran player made great use of his defensive units, came up there and actually put the Protoss economy behind his own, and at worst, still got up there and got some free kills. So either way, really a win-win for Ranks to do exactly what he just did. Now, looking at the production tab, you see we got some Colossi on the way, going to have that Robotics Bay finish in just a moment or two. That Nexus will be completed, and we can expect to see some of those probes transferred back here. We see there's actually kind of an oversaturation, just a tiny bit here, not too much. And for the income right now, we see that Terran is definitely sitting in a great spot, about 1,200, kind of spiking up to 1,300 there as the mules are doing their thing, with 43 Harvesters, now 44, compared to ChiTaPrime's 800. But he is definitely still in this game here. The Terran player is really investing into his economy right now, not really producing too much in the way of units. We see he is working on a couple of them right now, getting his upgrades and infrastructure going. So notice he's actually switched over those barracks that were there a little bit ago, and he's now throwing the starports down onto the reactors rather. Not sure what tech reactor is. I guess I'm just used to the single player campaign, playing that recently. Decided to maybe try to do some videos on it. I don't know. It's been such a long time though. I don't really see any purpose in doing any videos on it, even if it's from something like a no upgrades all marine run or something. Those are always cool. But anyways, red player coming up here. We got Ranks going to maybe taking out those rocks, or just taking advantage of the fact that you know, Protoss really can't do a whole lot right here. He looks like he is going to knock out these rocks and try to make another run at the expansion. It is certainly pretty vulnerable at this point. You see there is 1 Colossus, also 2 Immortals, plenty of Zealots here. Oh, nice force fields have gone down. The Zealots should be able to do a good bit of damage, but a lot of Marines have actually been pushed back. Some of these are just entirely inaccessible for the Protoss player. You see the... Oh, man, look at that Colossus right there. Dangerously close to dying. Speaking of Colossus, if you guys have not liked my Facebook page yet, you should definitely go and check it out. We had a discussion recently about the commentator/caster use of Colossus versus Colossi, and pretty much decided that I'm going to start referring to these as mechanized potatoes. Some pretty lolsy, epic, very intricately drawn Photoshop picture on there, so if you have not checked that out, definitely go. There's some epic lulls to be had. And okay, back to the game here. Looking at the unit composition for the Terran player, you see he has switched to what's pretty typical, Marauders and Vikings. It's great to deal with what ChiTaPrime has right now. You've got the Stalkers, which are very susceptible to the Marauder fire. Of course, it does extra damage against armored. You've also got the Colossi here. Speaking of Colossi, we might decide to have an engagement. Oh man, those Vikings getting in there, taking that Colossus down very low, 28 hit points, 9 shield. Whoa, man, that was so very close. But 2 bunkers are going down. Going to be a good thing to load up a couple, couple Marauders into that. Establish a nice little defensive perimeter, as this is really the main entrance right here. It's not too hard to defend with these rocks. It might actually not be a bad idea for like Zerg to knock down these rocks and spread the creep over to this expansion when they've decided to take that third base there. But for now, it looks like Terran player is going to do the exact same thing. Protoss deciding to throw down his expansion over here as well. Keeping the pylon up here at the top ledge. I do like this a lot. This will allow him to, number 1, keep an eye up here. Number 2, provide him a warp in position should a Marauder kill team decide to run in here and try to take out the Nexus. Won't have to worry about that pylon going down. So pretty good options there. And there goes ChiTaPrime's pylon. Again, like we said before, this guy is just... He's obsessed with dropping pylons everywhere, trying to make sure he has nice fallback positions. And uh-oh, looks like somebody forgot to set their SCV rally point. Oh, man. Okay, well, that's okay because these two players are still pretty darn good anyways here. We see ChiTaPrime is continuing to bring out the Phoenix play. 2 Stargates right here as we actually have 4 probes on gas. That's the second time I've seen that in a high-level game. I think that I've cast this week or something like that. It's just crazy. I don't get it. I think the first one was Idra. I forgot which game it was, but one of the games I cast the other day. So ChiTaPrime working on that weapons level 1 upgrade, also armor level 1. Got a couple Phoenixes. You can see pretty much everything that's being built right now. Now bringing out those Thors here, that's certainly not something that I expect to see here, but I'm very happy to see that. Always love seeing Thors come onto the field here, especially in the late game, to counter some of the units such as the Colossi, the Stalkers. Maybe we'll get to see some 250mm strike cannons. Oh man, I certainly do hope we see that. I think I've always seen that once in a game. In a high-level game. I swear, it's just nobody ever uses it. For the most part, it's pretty impractical because a lot of times you won't see them facing off against the units that have high enough hit points to really warrant it just focusing down like that. Rather having it do with that 60 damage, unupgraded to those units pretty often there than just focusing on it but 6 seconds. But anyways, I'm just getting off topic here. Looking at the production tab right now, I got a whole bunch more medevacs. Again, Terran just continuing to go with the same strategy as I mentioned before. We've got the Vikings and the Marauders, very good at countering what ChiTaPrime has. Now, you notice ChiTaPrime is also continuing to get 1 or 2 more Immortals in there. I think he's had these for a little while. And Immortals are a great thing to deal with the Marauder-heavy army. You got to watch out, though, because Immortals can kind of draw focus fire almost as bad as Colossi can. Now, he is working on getting a bunch of Phoenix out to deal with the air that the Terran will inevitably bring to the field. And I'm sure that with Phoenix, they don't exactly... I wouldn't say in a straight fight that a Viking would be great to deal damage against a Phoenix, but the thing is, the Phoenix has just such high maneuverability, and they really can just catch those Vikings off guard. And one thing I want to point out here, oh man, look at that! The dropship actually just coming over here and the probe going right underneath it. I saw they were getting ready to intersect in the minimap there. Meanwhile, I think there's something else going over here. Yeah, it looks like ChiTaPrime, or MGRanks rather, coming over here with the Marauders as the Phoenixes are, or Phoenix, whatever, are moving over to the right, going to take out this dropship very quickly. Look at that, man. 4 Marauders and a medevac going downhill. Meanwhile, we have another medevac coming over here with 4 Marauders going to be dropping into the back of ChiTaPrime's base, where I'm not sure it'll be able to do a whole lot of damage. It should be able to take out some of the probes here, but certainly not be able to knock down this Nexus. Look at that. 4 Stalkers have warped in, ready to defend. And now we got this Phoenix coming over, going to be lifting up the Marauders. Oh, good night for you, buddy. they're going to be going down very quickly. So Terran continuing to build up his forces. You see, he's still working on those Thors. Again, Thors would be great to deal damage against the Colossi, the Stalkers. Not so much against the Immortals. You know, that hardened shield reduces that that constant firepower down to 10. But still, you can take them down pretty quick. So I do want to point out one thing that the Thors will be great against is the Phoenix. You see, versus light, 14 damage. Now he's going to have to watch out and make sure they're not bunched up, but the Thors will be great in dealing damage against a small massive four, like right there. Oh man, if he could have lobbed some shots into that, it would have been fantastic for the Terran player. But we might have ChiTaPrime decide to move in here. Oh, look at that nice comm set. Saw the Observer, saw the Protoss forces. As actually ChiTaPrime decides to back out a little bit. Doesn't want to reveal the entirety of his unit composition to the Terran player, who does have another command center going down here. May decide to float this off towards the high yield, or he may decide to turn this into a planetary fortress, which may seem silly at first, but I do actually see that a lot on some of the maps here. Just Terran players deciding to those planetary fortresses, trying to secure an area that may be you know, constantly under attack. It does happen quite a good bit. I'm not sure this would be the best place for it, but still, it would serve its purpose. Now, oh man, here we go, Terran player getting ready to engage the Protoss. Look at that Phoenix doing tons of damage as the Thors are actually running around here. Look at all that movement. That was free damage taken. Oh man, ChiTaPrime just got a ton of damage on that Terran army, as really the Phoenix are just mopping up right now. Stalkers are even starting to fire at the Phoenix, and really looking at the army composition. 113 to 151, you see it going down almost to double digits there for just a moment or two. Absolutely nothing in terms of an army for the Terran player right now. You see he's actually lifting off this command center, hoping to get it away from the Protoss, looking to use that for an expansion in the near future. Not going to happen though, as it is burning, and smash! I think even ChiTaPrime has a probe in there, got a couple probes, looking to just come out here and get out of the monotony that is mining the minerals. Look at that, man. Protoss is just wrecking the Terran base. I don't really see a way for the Terran player to come back from this point, especially since you got the Void Ray here, man. This is what it's all about, getting that one Void Ray in here, charging up the lasers, and oh, this is going to be the last stand for the Terran player. Look at that, couple Thors doing what they can, but not going to be nearly enough damage. Oh my god, look at that. We do indeed have that cannon being launched right there. Holy crap, we finally saw it, ladies and gentlemen, right before the game ends, the 250mm strike cannons on the Protoss army. What a way to end it. My life is complete. I'm going to go retire to an island and go play golf for... that'd be really boring. I'd rather play Starcraft. Alright, so anyways, that's going to be a game here, and I don't really see anything super cool. Oh, wow, that's actually kind of cool. Well, half-dead... whatever. Looks like a Marauder getting punched in the face by something. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and record some more games. Hopefully the world does not explode from the awesomeness that is whatever the hell we're looking at right now.